a little bit of a chill in the air. A jacket or a sweater would come in handy. Currently outside in Amarillo, we're at 49 degrees. We have a mixture of 40s and 50s across the board. Unless you're at Clarendon, it's milder at 60 degrees. Day planner forecast looks this way. At 10 p.m., 53 degrees, thereabouts anyway. In the morning, we'll wake up to 38, and at 10 a.m., 55 degrees. So how warm will it be tomorrow, and how very warm will it be on Friday? Do we have to worry about wildfire dangers, and is there a chance for rain this weekend? I'll answer those questions in a few minutes. In the meantime, the news starts now.
From KCIT TV, this is Fox 14 News at 9 in high definition.
Controversy continues to surround Amarillo's interim city manager. Details from one of the 911 call center workers next.
And the people of Texas County say no to a proposed tax increase. Now the Memorial Hospital may be closing its doors for good.
And Super Tuesday is in the books, and now Republican candidates focus their attention on the next debate. Who will not be on that debate stage? Those stories 1 hour earlier, coming up on Fox 14's News at 9. The former supervisor of Amarillo's Emergency Communications Center speaks for the first time since the 911 controversy erupted 2 weeks ago.
And thanks for joining us tonight. Now, he spoke through email. Terry Bavasset was relieved of his duties at the call center following that incident. Bavasset sent an email to us today explaining why he chose now to speak up. The biggest reason, he says, no one else in the city, particularly the interim city manager Terry Childers, has stood up to defend the 911 staff. That story is first on Fox tonight.
I regret the manner in which I handled this situation on a very personal level.
This is as close to an apology Terry Childers would offer for his part in the 911 controversy that he refers to as a firestorm.
I should have not allowed this situation to escalate to the point of allowing my personal frustration to be verbalized in the manner that I did.
And while he did not apologize to the public, former Emergency Communications Center manager Terry Bavasset says Childers did apologize to the 3 911 operators. In an email from Mr. Bavasset, he writes, the interim city manager used the right words, but I'm not convinced it was heartfelt. Bavasset says Childers was attentive when the employees spoke, but refused to acknowledge him when he spoke up. Bavasset has since filed the paperwork to retire from the city, but he's concerned his former employees were given a black eye. That's because Childers allegedly stopped the internal investigation into exactly who leaked the 911 calls to the public. This was disappointing to me because he won't have to correct his earlier comment about the leak coming from the dispatch staff if that was disproved. I have no idea who leaked the 911 call, but I'm not convinced that the leak came from an AECC employee, and the investigation would probably reveal that. Now, the city has confirmed they have discontinued that investigation into the leak, but they won't say why. Calls to the interim city manager, Terry Childers, and the new city attorney, Mick McCamey, were not returned today. If you would like a closer look at the full statement, it's a lengthy one. We've got continuing coverage of this story for you over at myhighplains.com.
An Oklahoma man is caught with more than 10 pounds of methamphetamine after being pulled over for speeding. According to DPS troopers, Darius Laster was arrested after police found 4 bundles of meth during a traffic stop over the weekend. Troopers pulled Laster over on I-40 in Carson County for speeding. Troopers found more than 10 pounds of meth inside a spare tire. Laster was charged with possession with the intent to distribute. 2 teens are arrested for allegedly robbing 2 people at gunpoint. It happened Monday night at a parking lot on the 1400 block of Norris Street in Clovis. 2 victims claim they met the teens to buy an Xbox. They say the teens got into their car, pulled out a gun, and took money and a watch. Clovis police say they found 1 teen with a gun, a watch matching the description of the stolen one, and cash. Both are being held in juvenile detention.
A Randall County man is accused of possession of child pornography. 70-year-old Timothy Bryant has been indicted in Randall County on 10 counts of possession of child pornography. Bryant was arrested back in 2014 for the crime. Another Randall County man also facing jail time for aggravated sexual assault of a child. According to police, 19-year-old Frank Orozco was indicted on 4 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child. He was arrested for these crimes back in September of last year. At least 1 sexual assault is seen here in Amarillo every week. This according to the city's police case reporting system. Police say citizens assume these incidents are happening by unknown suspects, but that's usually not the case. Officer Chrysler Lauer says that assumption likely comes from a program where officials discuss stranger danger.
What the public needs to be aware of is that almost 90% of these sexual assaults are from either family members or acquaintances of somebody that the victim knows.
Angie Stovall, Family Support Services, says one of the scariest statistics is only 1 in 10 sexual assaults is actually reported.
Roberts County is the latest to enact a burn ban. This one is said to be temporary, but it joins the other counties that you see on this map in red that already have a burn ban in place. It's illegal to do any outdoor burning in these counties. It was a tight race last night for the Armstrong County Sheriff. We are your local election headquarters. Fleta Barnett beat Nathan McKee to be the next Armstrong County Sheriff, but look at those numbers. She won by 3 votes.
That's democracy.
The clerk's office tells us they will not do a recount and there are no pending ballots to be counted.
Wow.
And look at these numbers for Armstrong County Commissioner Precinct 3. Robert Harris came in first with 49% of the votes. Tom Ferris and Jared Meeks, though, tied for second place. Here we go. You ready?
Here's a conundrum.
State law says there must be a runoff between the top 2, but you can see that's not possible because of the second place tie. The county judge says he's not sure what the next step is. He's starting with the county GOP chair. If there's no answer from that department, he'll check with the Secretary of State.
We may get an actual coin flip to determine that second place. Who knows? Do you have a runoff with a runoff? I don't know.
Is a coin flip an option?
Some people do that some places,
wow.
Yes. That's not how democracy is supposed to work, but you do have a 50-50 shot. Who knows? That's just how some people do it. I'm not saying that's the way they're going to do it. All right, after the community votes no on a 1% sales tax increase for the Memorial Hospital of Texas County, the future of the only hospital in Guymon is now up in the air. Fox 14's Veronica Dietrich hears from the hospital's CEO on whether it will survive without its sales tax lifeline.
I guess we didn't get enough message out to let them really understand our situation, how lack of a better term, desperate it is.
It's too soon to tell. That's what the Memorial Hospital of Texas County CEO David Rasmussen tells us. He says the penny addition to the sales tax would have helped the hospital get back on its feet, but they're not giving up.
It's going to take some burning the midnight oil to get all that done, and meeting with the board and all parties involved so that we can come up with the right solution that's right for the hospital and right for the community.
Memorial Hospital of Texas County is the only hospital in the area. If it were to close, the nearest hospital is in Liberal. That's about a 45-minute drive.
If there's an emergency and we're not here, then your heart may not make it. So, the ambulance people do a tremendous job at getting people to and from the various areas, but time is of the essence.
He tells us how appreciative they are of those who support the hospital and continue to use it.
I don't think it would be closed. We have quite a few here in Guymon that would like to see it be open.
We try and do the best job possible that we can, and so just want to again thank the community for their help and support that those have voted in our favor.
Rasmussen brings up the state of Oklahoma working on an initiative that would fund a Medicaid expansion type approach that would be a big help if it passed by state legislatures. In the meantime, he says the clock is ticking and the debt is mounting, and how they're going to survive is the challenge. Live in studio, Veronica Dietrich, Fox 14 News. Kelly.
All right, thank you, Veronica. The hospital has had some financial issues for the last 4 years when the county stepped in and gave money so that it could remain in operation. Well, then the following year, the CEO then, Lee Hughes, was fired amid an investigation into possible open meetings violations as well as fraud.
Should full-strength beer and wine be sold in grocery stores and gas stations? A bill written by Oklahoma Senator Clark Jolly will allow just that. However, locally owned alcohol producers say this law would hurt their business. Senator Jolly says the bill is not meant to put anyone out of business, but to provide convenience to consumers. If the bill is passed by the legislature, it will go on the November ballot. The dust has settled on Super Tuesday. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have chartered a clear path towards nominations. Last night, Trump walked away with wins in 7 states, while Senator Ted Cruz from Texas kept his campaign alive with a decisive win in his home state. Today, Dr. Ben Carson announced he will skip out on tomorrow's GOP debate, signaling he may be the next candidate to drop out of the race. Meanwhile, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is back on the campaign trail after picking up 4 states, even as Hillary Clinton cements a clear lead among Democrats. For all your election coverage, head over to myhighplains.com.
The most significant abortion case in the last 2 decades goes before the U.S. Supreme Court today, and opinions seem split. The Texas law that went into effect or was passed a few years ago requires doctors who perform abortions to have admitting privileges to local hospitals, and that clinics have to meet hospital-like standards. Now, proponents say it will make abortion safer, but on the pro-choice side, women's health activists say that argument is a disguise to stop abortions in the state altogether. The court will determine if these regulations are an undue burden.
The widths of our hallways, the type of door hinges that we have. These are purported to enhance women's health care and safety, and in fact, they do just the opposite. We have patients who are making desperate decisions.
Now, here's the conundrum on this. If the case ends in a split vote, which is possible since the death of Antonin Scalia, the law would still take effect, or the justices could ask to revisit the case in the next term.
More than $2 billion in sales tax revenue for the state of Texas, but that's actually down from this time last year. Sales tax revenue is the largest source of state funding for the state's budget. Vehicle sales, rental taxes, and the oil and gas industry taxes account for the most. Experts say this month is down by almost 7%. Vehicle sales and rental taxes were more than $300 million. Fuel taxes were $286 million last month, and more than $110 million was brought in from oil and natural gas production.
All right, so there was a coin flip just a few years ago.
He's been feverishly searching.
Seguin, Texas.
Okay.
In 2012, they settled a city council spot with a coin flip because they...
That's mortifying.
I know.
Right?
But I just start with the coin flip.
Sure.
Why not? It was heads, too.
Oh, no, now he's going to Google that.
I'll check on that.
All right, in the commercial, a city ordinance that took effect almost a decade ago is still having a major impact on business owners today.
Yeah, when we come back and look at some local businesses that have had to close up shop. But first, here's John.
And Kelly, thank you very much. Well, today was nice for a while, but then here came the dust. What about the weather tomorrow? More on that in a moment. Soil temperatures 2 inches deep, 50 degrees, half a foot deep, 48. We're looking at your end of the week forecast when we come back.